All right, everyone. Welcome to our very first live stream. We are going to be, for the first time, we're actually going to be going live, not only on Instagram, but we're also going to be going live on YouTube at the first time. For the first time, Instagram and YouTube at the same time. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, what I like to say is welcome to our live stream. Let's take a look here. Boom, boom. All right, everyone. All right. So yesterday, what we did was we went. So today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking to see if we can actually find any stocks that we can possibly trade for tomorrow. So the first stock that we're going to look at from our list is going to be stock symbol. This stock symbol is going to be GLIBK. All right. So let's take a look at that one over here. And sorry, guys, about the rough introduction. Like I said, it's the first time we're doing both YouTube and Instagram live at the same time. And it's also the first time that we are going to be doing live in regards to on our mobile, as with this mobile setup. Typically, we do our live on YouTube and we do it in PC format, which is basically landscape, but this time we're going to be doing it in portrait mode. So we'll see how that works out for us. All right. So the first stock that we're going to be looking at, that we looked at from our screener that you guys can see here on the top screen, is going to be stock symbol GLIBK. Now, this particular stock over here, we wouldn't even bother trading it because there's not enough information. This stock was just listed July 11th of this year. So there's not enough information for us to trade that stock, but it does fit the criteria as far as the price point. It is priced at $34.58. The stock is selling a minimum of about 1 million shares of stock a day. And this stock, on average, for the past 14 days, has been moving up or down at least $1.50. But because there's not enough history on this stock, and this is a newly listed stock, if you were one of my students and you took my course that's available on Udemy, I will remember we started off with about 10,000, over 10,200 stocks available on the stock market. Then we were able to 89 stocks. And out of those 89 stocks, we're not going to be looking at the healthcare stocks. Now, with this stock over here, let's see if we can possibly have a trade opportunity here. Now, this is a stock that I trade earlier on in the month, and I made a decent profit on this one. So let's take out these lines over here, like the yellow line here that I had drawn in earlier during the month. And let's take this one out. Let's see if there's currently a buy opportunity here. Now, when we look at this stock, what we're doing is we're looking at, oh, what's going on with Instagram here? Instagram is moving kind of slow. Okay. So what's going on with this stock is we have our moving averages. Our moving averages are color coded. So with our color coded moving averages, what we're looking for is for the green line to be on top and pointing straight up, as well as for the red line moving average to be at the bottom and for that to be pointing straight up. That lets us know that we're going into an uptrend. And we're in a clear uptrend over here. So what we need to do is now we need to look at our RSI over here at the bottom. With the RSI, our purple line down over here, we can see that the RSI is well above the red line, which is our 50 point, and it's pointing in an upward trend. That lets us know that there's still room to grow with this stock and it can continue moving up. This stock price closed at $36.92. But during the post market trade, the stock actually dropped down to 36.68. There is an area of resistance, which is right about here. So I wouldn't necessarily buy this stock right now until it actually broke through this area of resistance. And let me show you what I'm talking about here. All right, so this area right here that I'm drawing in right now is the area of resistance. So as long as the stock price is within this area, which are this red box that I just drawn in here. Why does everything seem to be going a little slower on Instagram? Okay, on YouTube we're fine. Okay, um, so as long as the price point stays above this area right here, I feel very confident that well, if it stays in this zone right here, I wouldn't necessarily buy it. But once it breaks above it or it closes above this area, which is roughly 40.25, then I would actually purchase the stock right there. All right. So now I'm noticing that there is a little bit more of a lag when it comes to Instagram than YouTube. That's why. All right. Uh, okay. Nah, that threw me off a little bit. All right. So once that stock closes right above here, which is going to be $40.39, I'll feel comfortable buying the stock here. But for right now, I'm just going to keep an eye on the stock and see what happens with that. This could break through this area by tomorrow. And we just had our earnings report last month on this particular. Well, no, actually, we have the earnings report coming out over here. And the earnings report is going to be coming out on, what is this? August 14th. So yeah, this is a stock that I would actually possibly buy if it breaks through that area of support. If it's having through this area of resistance. If it's having problems breaking through this area of resistance, most definitely what I would do is I would actually short the stock with an options trade. And I would probably short that stock and probably take my profit right about, maybe right above here, about $25, right above the area of support. And the area of support that I'm talking about would be the area of support right about here. Let's see here if we can see that. Make sure I get it on the screen. Like I said, I'm dealing with a mobile version here. So I would probably say the area of support is right over here, about $23.96. I would actually take my profit right above that area, which would be about $24, $25 before it comes down there. Now let's see if we can see another stock here that we can look at as far as a stock that we can possibly trade. Another stock that I would be looking at would be CHYM. All right, let's pull that back. CHYM. All right. So with this stock, let's see here. All right. So this is an example of a stock that is a new stock. Not enough history coming in on this particular stock right over here. The stock price is, well, the stock was listed on June 12th. Not enough history for us to trade this particular stock. So we'll just move on to the next one. Our next stock that comes up on our list would be, let's see here, number 25, which will be TSSI. That is the stock symbol. Let's pull that up and let's see what's going on with this one. All right, so with this particular stock over here, we showing that we are in an uptrend. Our moving averages, green lines on top pointing straight up, red lines at the bottom is pointing straight up. And then we have our RSI right over here, which broke above the 50 mark. And the RSI is pointing upwards. So we could be continuing this uptrend. There was a little bit of a pullback over here, and the stock looked like it's going to continue going up. Let's take a look at something here. There's a lot of information. There's some things happening off stream that you guys can't see because we're looking at this on a mobile platform. This is the first time I'm doing this live streaming on Instagram. And I don't, so I'm going to see how this works. We're doing it in live stream and we're doing it in landscape, in portrait mode. So there's some information that you may not be able to see, but from what I'm looking at right here, the highest price that this stock has ever been has been $31.80. Right now, the stock price is at $25.84. Typically, when a stock price is close to its highest price point, which is right here about $31, a lot of traders or investors, they kind of get a little spooky and they normally sell off and they don't stay in the trade. Because this is the highest the stock's ever been, so it will typically sell off and the stock price will come back down. And we can tell that with this curvature that we see happening right over here. Now, this curvature that we see happening here is letting us know that our moving averages is going to consolidate. And once the red line crosses over the green line, which is our moving averages, that lets us know that we're typically in a downtrend. So this stock over here, I wouldn't necessarily add this to my watch list thinking that I would trade this stock tomorrow morning when the market opens. So I wouldn't even continue looking at this particular stock. Let's see what else we got going on here. We're only going to go through about 20 of the stocks that showed up on our list. And we'll hope and see if we can find maybe one or two stocks that we can possibly trade tomorrow. The next one that we're going to be looking at is going to be symbol RAL. Let's take a look at this one. RAL. All right, let's let that load up. And what do we got going on here? All right, so this is another stock right here. And with this particular stock, what we can see is that, once again, this is not enough history coming out with this stock. This stock was just listed on the market June 25th of this year. So we're just going to go ahead and move on to the next stock that we're going to be looking at. And the next one is going to be Lemonade, which symbol is going to be LMND. All right, so let's take a look at this stock here. All right, and here we have, all right, so with this stock, once again, we have a green line on top, moving averages on top pointing up, red lines at the bottom is pointing straight up. On our RSI, which is right over here, the RSI is bouncing off the red dotted line, which is our 50. RSI is pointing up, so that looks like the stock is going to be going up. Now, we do have an area of resistance, which is right over here, this red line that you guys can see here. So let's add in a trend line so we can clearly identify that area of resistance right over here. And let's make that, instead of blue, let's make that red so we can visually see that. And all right, so here we can clearly see that we have an area of resistance right here. Now the stock price is at $41.74. So tomorrow morning, would I buy this stock? The reason why I would not necessarily buy this, even though the red line's at the bottom, moving averages pointing straight up, green line's at the top, it's pointing up. But right here, you can see this curvature in the green line. And what this is called is a consolidation. Now, once these two lines crosses over, and the red line then goes on top and is pointing straight down, green line's pointing straight down, that lets us know that we're in a downtrend. So there is a possibility that this stock can actually fall and reverse into a downtrend, which is what it looks like it's about to do here. All right. And the reason I say that is because typically once a stock actually, like here, the stock broke through this area of resistance, which is the red line. It broke through that here in this area. It went above it. It normally would come back and test it and stay right above this red line, which is the area of resistance. But the fact that it actually broke through the area of resistance, came down below it, and then it went back above that area of resistance, and then here again it broke through it, it lets us know that there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. So therefore, this stock can actually could actually be consolidating and turning around, and this can be the highest that the stock is going to go for right now, and it can start doing a reversal where the stock price will come down. Now, we do have the earnings report for this company that's going to be coming out on August 5th, and we do have the president who actually is going to be making a lot of decisions in regards to the tariffs on August 1st. So this is something that we need to keep an eye on. But I believe that this particular stock over here is going to be doing a reversal and may turn into a downtrend. So I'm going to keep an eye on this one and see if I will put in an options trade, a put, so we can make money as the stock continues to drop. Well, when the stock starts to drop. So what we're going to do is just add this one over to our watch list. The next stock that we're going to look at from our list would be what we got here. Will be AAOI. All right. So with this particular stock, let's wait for that to load up, and bam. All right. So here, what we can do is we can see, once again, these were trades that I was in earlier this month. So we can get out of those, move those lines, delete all of this. Let's just go ahead and delete all the drawings that we have here. All right. Give us a nice clean chart so we can start working with um, with this thing from scratch. All right. So for those of you who've been watching my live, especially watching my live from last week, you would remember that we were in this trade. Well, last month, we were in this trade last month, and we actually bought into it right about here, and we ended up selling when the stock price got up here. Right. And it was a good thing that we sold right around here because look, as you can see, there's a turnaround and there's a pullback. And right now, there's a lot of uncertainty because we showing that we're in a clear uptrend. Green lines on top pointing straight up, red lines at the bottom pointing straight up. On our RSI right here, it's well above, is right above the red dotted line, which is the 50. And then we all know that if it breaks below these dotted red lines, which are the 50, and it starts to point down lower, that means we're in a downtrend. But you can see that curvature happening over here. So once again, with all of the information coming out in regards to these stocks, as far as the earnings report for the second quarter, this is why you're going to see a lot of this consolidation happening because this stock right here, their earnings report is going to be coming out August 7th. All right. And with the earnings report being so close to coming out, a lot of investors are selling off just in case the numbers from their earnings report for the second quarter is extremely low. They don't get stuck in a sell off and lose money. So, anytime at the end of the quarter, and the closer we get to an earnings report, you typically see the stocks dip the way all these stocks that we're looking at dipping. All right. So what we're going to be looking for is stocks where they've already released their earnings report for the second quarter. And so far, we've only come across one. The next stock that we're going to look at, yep. So this particular stock, I wouldn't necessarily trade it right now. The next stock that we're going to be looking at is going to be MNTN. Now, remember, when we go through and we filter through all of the stocks that are listed on the stock market, it doesn't necessarily mean just because we filtered it down from the original 10,200 stocks down to roughly, 89 stocks, doesn't mean that we're going to be able to trade all 89 of those stocks. What it basically means is these stocks fit our pricing criteria, and these stocks make a certain amount of movement that we want them to make, and the volume is there that we need it to be there, right? And that's why we're able to filter through all these stocks and go from over 10,200 stocks to 89 stocks. Now, out of these 89 stocks, we may be able to find, I would probably say if we were to go through all of them, we would be able to find maybe 5 stocks that we can possibly trade tomorrow, but we would find a lot more stocks that we would be able to identify entry points, maybe another 10 or 20 stocks that we may be able to say, hey, when the stock reached this particular price point, we can enter into it. But there's a lot of stocks that you'll see that we'll add to our watch list. Now, today we're only going to go through 20 of them just so I can, show you guys how quickly you can filter through these. Now, keep in mind, if you were to take my course that is available on Udemy, what would happen is you'll be able to look at these stocks and look at the charts here and say, okay, well, this stock is not set up the way I want to set up. And you'll be able to basically go through and filter through these 20 stocks within about 5 to 10 minutes. If you have about 89 stocks like I have on my list now, you would be able to filter through those 89 stocks in less than 20 minutes. It's just that I'm explaining to you guys what I'm doing because right now, this is going to be our first time doing this on YouTube and Instagram at the same time. So there's probably going to be a few people on Instagram that's never really watched any of my lives before or don't know who I am. And so therefore I don't want to just fly through it like I normally do when I'm on YouTube. All right. So with this particular stock, would not necessarily trade. The reason for that is because this stock over here, as you can see, the price point for this particular stock is typically about $12, the highest, and roughly around $11, right? But here, the stock just jumped all the way from $12 all the way up to $20.79. And ever since then, the stock has been in this uptrend, right? And this stock is a technology stock. Now, the reason why I wouldn't trade this particular stock trade right here is because this is new territory for this stock. This stock has never really been this high before. As you can see, it's always been down here. So there's something going on with this company. If I was to decide that I wanted to trade it, I most definitely would have to do a deep dive into the company and find out, what happened at this time. All right. And here's the funny thing though. We were just talking about earnings, right? Earnings report. If you click on the little E that you see here at the symbol, uh, when we click on that, we'll see that the earnings report came out in April, on April 30th, 2025. And when the earnings report came out, that's when the stock jumped, and it jumped all the way up here. So they had a pretty good earnings report, and I'm pretty sure that they've probably released that they had some new technology that they've come up with or they've released, and that's what's causing the stock to rise up. But this type of stock, I would be kind of afraid to trade right now, or I would have to do a real deep dive into the company to find out what's going on with it and then determine if I was going to trade it. But for right now, this stock, I wouldn't necessarily trade it right now. There's not enough information in this price point area right over here. Next stock that I would look at from our list would be, let's take a look here. Let's go back to our stock screener. And I would say a lot of these are technology stocks as well. So let's go here. We're going to look at stock OUST. Stock OUST. All right, so let's pull that up. Oh, this is beautiful right here. This is a really nice setup. I love this one. Now we've actually found a stock that we can possibly trade. Okay, so here we can see with this particular stock, green line moving averages is pointing straight up. There's really no curvature. Red lines at the bottom, it's pointing straight up. It broke through an area of resistance right over here. Our RSI, it had to a dip, which is the pullback, but it's still above the 50 mark on our RSI, the purple section down over here. So this is somewhat of a pullback. I would probably say tomorrow morning, I would look at purchasing this stock, depending on, once again, where the earnings are. And the earnings report is where? Right over here, August 7th. So if I was to buy this stock tomorrow when it does do a little bit of a pullback, I would look at getting out of this stock by the 1st of August, if not by latest August 4th or August 3rd. I wouldn't want to stay in this until like the August 6th, the day before the report. So I think we could, depending on how this lands tomorrow, how it looks tomorrow morning when the market opens, if it's between 26.65 and lower, I would probably buy it. If there's a big jump and it goes higher, I would probably stay away from it because I don't like to I like to catch it like right around here when it does that pullback and then purchase it and just ride the waves. Because if I can buy it at 26 and I can possibly sell it at 30, we can make a good profit depending on how much money we put into this particular trade over here. All right, so this is a good stock to look at for right now as far as the trade for tomorrow. Next stock that we're going to be looking at is going to be BKSY. Let's pull up that BKSY. BKSY. All right. BKSY. Let's see what this one is. It is Black Sky. All right. So, this one is another really nice setup over here. Okay. All right. Once again, moving averages. We look like we're in an uptrend. Green lines on top, pointing straight up. Red lines at the bottom. It's pointing straight up. Our RSI, it bounced and hit our 50 mark right over here, and looks like it's going back up. It's pointing up or getting ready to point up in an upward trend. We are below the area of resistance right over here. Which is a little bit concerning, but the stock still looks like we are going to be in a possible uptrend still. So what I would do is I will still keep an eye on this stock to see what happens with it tomorrow. And depends on what happens tomorrow. I may continue trading this. I may jump into the trade for this stock. It doesn't look like I would put an option put. I would actually buy, believing that the stock may go up. The stock did close at $20.44. Post market, the stock did come down to $20.41. But it depends on how our RSI looks over here, right? And like I've said to you guys before in the other lives that I did, right now we're looking at this on our daily time chart. But if we wanted to get an early indication on whether or not we are in a possible downtrend, instead we are going to continue to uptrend or possibly be turning over into a downtrend, we can switch this over to the 4-hour time chart. And when we switch it over to the 4-hour time chart, this is where we get that early warning that, hey, we may be consolidating and going into a downtrend. So, it looks good on the 1-day chart, but on the 1-day time frame, but then when we switch it over to the 4-hour time chart, there we go. You see the green line starting to consolidate. They're going to start coming together. And over here, you can see on our RSI, the RSI is well below the 50. It's pointing up like it's going to hit the 50 mark again. If it hits the 50 mark, which are the red dotted lines right here, and it bounces back down, it starts pointing down again, it lets us know that we're at the beginning of a downtrend. And then I would put in options here if there's an option for this one. And then I will put a put option, basically saying that the stock is going to be going down so you can make money while the stock is going down. So that all depends on what happens tomorrow. And so we'll just keep an eye on this. So this is what I was talking about earlier. With a lot of these stocks, you're going to be looking at them and you're not going to just sit there and find stocks that you're going to be able to say, oh, I'm just going to buy this first thing in tomorrow morning. You may sit there and say, wow, this is a stock I may be able to trade tomorrow, but I have to see how it reacts because it's in the sweet spot. It's in the area where if it hits the 50 mark and it bounces back down and starts pointing down, we can put an option to short the stock. If it breaks above it, it lets us know that the uptrend is going to continue and the stock is going to continue rising because this is a pullback. Now, remember, you see these big gaps here, right? So the stock at one point in time, and this was on Thursday, the 17th, the stock was up here at $28.23. And then all of a sudden, the stock dropped on Friday and it came down to $22.49. So that's a big gap, right? It's a big drop gap. And then it kind of, tried to stay, it tried to rise, but it ended up right back where it started off at the $22. And then here, and that was on Monday, and then Tuesday, there's another drop, right? So that's letting you know that a lot of people are selling. A lot of traders, they're selling, they're getting out of it. But then again, there may be some traders who are looking at it like, okay, well, this is a big drop because originally we were all the way up here at $28 and today is the 23rd. So over a 6-day period, the stock basically dropped from $28 all the way down to $20. So that's basically an $8 drop. So, you may have a lot of traders that are looking at it as this is maybe a good entry point for them to buy the stock and push it back up. So we'll have to keep an eye on this on both the 4-hour time frame as well as the daily time frame to see if we want to buy the stock. And push it back up, or if we're going to put an option trade and sell and watch the stock drop and make money. Because when trading stocks, you can make money on both ways. You can make money with the stocks going up. You can make money when the stock's going down. Now, you're going to hear a lot of people talk about, oh, I want to be a day trader. Okay. You cannot be a day trader unless you have at least $25,000 in your account. All right. A day trader means you can buy this stock today and sell it the exact same day. And you can do that to as many stocks as you possibly want. You're a day trader, but you need to have at least $25,000 in your account. If you buy a stock today and you sell it today, if you do that for 3 consecutive days, your account will be blocked and locked because you don't have to $25 required in order to be a day trader. If you want to short a stock, for example, we purchase this stock and we say, okay, well, we want to go ahead and we want to short this stock. Hold on here. If we say we want to short this stock, and what's going to happen is, hold on 1 second. If we say that we want to short this stock, then what would happen is you would have to have roughly about $3,000 in your account, depending on your broker, in order to short this stock. If you don't have that kind of money in your account, you will not be able to short it. But what you can do is you can go ahead and you could put in a what they call a options trade. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I'm here at the office. All right, and let's go ahead and shut this down. All right, sorry about that. Now we're back. Okay. All right, so that's what I was saying in regards to that. So you can make money but if you put in an option trade. With an options trade, to make an options trade on this particular stock, if you have $400 to $500 in your account, you can place an option trade and you can make money when the stock is going down. And you can also make money when the stock is going up with an options trade, or you can just simply buy the stock. And if you do a simple buy, you can make money with the stock going up. All right. So the next stock that we're going to be looking at, which is probably going to be the final stock. Let's see here. We have 2 more stocks that we can look at. Yep, this one is an energy stock, SOC. SOC. All right, so this particular stock here is, okay, SOC. Let's take a look at that one, and it's loading right now. All right, so with this particular stock over here, what we can see is that we are in the beginning of a possible uptrend, and that's on a 4-hour time frame. I like to start on the daily time chart. Let's put that on the daily time chart. All right. So here's the thing: when you see a setup like this, where the stock is just like all over the place, it's just so let's take a look here. I mean, you guys can see this. I'm putting a good amount of it. 1 minute's in the downtrend right over here, where the red line's on top, green line's at the bottom. It's in the downtrend, and then it crosses over. Green line's on top, red line's at the bottom, and then we're in the uptrend, and then again it crosses over, and all this is happening in such a short period of time. There's a lot of volatility with this stock, and there's a lot of uncertainty. So once you see this setup, if you're a long-term trader, which I'm not necessarily what I would call a long-term trader, but if you're holding on to a stock for, a week, a few days to a week, maybe 2 weeks max, you don't want to be in a trade like this, because the stock, there's so much, there's so much volatility and inconsistency. Like, you have the bears and the bulls, they're constantly fighting with each other. That's why we have this up down roller coaster. Okay, and hold on 1 second here. Yes, the office is closed. Yes, we open at 8 o'clock. Yes, yes. Sorry about that. All right, so we're gonna have to wrap this up before we get out of here, because we got to go over to TikTok. We have an appointment. We have a schedule 8:15 live on TikTok. So let's wrap this one up. So anytime you see anything like this, there's a lot of volatility. There's a lot of inconsistency. Nobody knows what they want to do with this stock. So once you see this, you just want to stay away from it. You don't want to try to trade stocks like this. You want to trade stocks when they look more like this. Where, let me see here. Oh, no. Let's pull a stock up here that we're looking at trading. So let's look at EVH. Yeah. Let's take a look at this one. All right. So we're looking at UMAC right here, this particular stock. Let's let that load up and see what happens with this one. So with this particular stock, we can see that we are, I'm sorry, let's pull up another one. I'm just pulling random stocks here. Okay, so with this particular stock, you can see that we're clearly in an uptrend, right? There's not this wobbly up and down situation. It's kind of like, okay, when we're going up, we're going up. And then when we're coming down, we're going to be coming down. And that's what you're looking for when you're looking at stocks. And this is why I always encourage my students when they take my course. This is the first indicator that we're going to be in an uptrend. You're moving averages, and then you want to look at your RSI. You have your areas of support right down here. You have your areas of resistance. It's not a lot of inconsistency. It's kind of like when we're up, and when we're going down, we're going down. And that's what you want to be really kind of concerned with when it comes down to trading. Okay. All right. So I'm going to call it a day here, and tomorrow we'll do another. And tomorrow we'll do another live around the same time, same place. See you guys later and live. These people